It's FIA Formula 2's fourth round of the championship, and we're here at the Autodromo Enzo Ferrari, where this series began back as GP2 in 2005. And it's time for practice. Good morning wherever you are, and welcome to FIA Formula 2 here at Imola. It's Italy for the first of two stops this year on the F2 calendar. The circuit Autodromo Enzo Ferrari, named after Enzo and Dino Ferrari, the two big names in the motorsport's greatest family. 19 turns, 34.45 metres elevation change, 174 mile an hour lap times as well here, and beautiful sunshine, which is something we're expecting, but we have a delay. The session's going to start in around about 2 minutes time, as we had barrier repair work in Formula 3. So a slight delay and a new procedure. The opening 10 minutes will be used as trackers climatisation before everyone can then be let out onto the circuit, as we have now a delayed start message from race control. Just what we need, Omi, as we get ready to go in. Welcome back to the box, and F2 finally back.
Finally back after their last trip down under. Great to see Formula 2 back around this historic racetrack as well. Cannot wait for it to all get started here at Imola in a couple of minutes time, when we get going for the one and only practice session that we get before we go qualifying later on today.
Yep, qualifying is going to be very important around this circuit. Look at all the new grandstands that have been put up as well around Imola. It really is starting to feel like it's back full time on the F1 calendar. It's got a contract for at least 2030, so it's a great venue to be at. Let's check in then. No Alex Jakes in the F2 commentary box, but alongside Alex Brundle is Chris McCarthy. Let's check in with them both now.
About what happened, we could see that they were certainly tested, weren't they, Alex? Some of the drivers finding those gravel traps. It's going to be a really special weekend. A lot of the fans coming in 30 years on from the tragic events of the passing of Ayrton Senna and Roland Ratzenberger. A lot of the drivers out last night on the run, joining the F1 drivers in that. And we caught up with the F2 drivers yesterday on Ayrton Senna.
I mean, Ayrton is my idol since I'm a little child. Yeah, it's basically the first F1 driver I was aware of, and yeah, it's just been a fan since I can remember.
I think he's a hero for everyone in this sport, you know, in terms of how he drove and also what he brought into the sport. So obviously, it's an important weekend to also, you know, show that to the people as well.
Ayrton Senna is an idol, you know. He's a hero, and we miss him. He gave such a good, you know, like atmosphere to the sport, and he still keep on going, even though he's already 30 years.
He's caused such a big impact in the racing community. He's almost like portrayed like the racing god, and very focused, very determined. Very professional, and you know, you can learn so much from him, and after seeing his documentary, reading more about him, and you know, he was my first, let's say, hero, racing hero.
Isaac Hadjar, Dennis Hauger, Roman Stanek and Kush Maney talking about three-time world champion Ayrton Senna. Of course, 30 years on from the tragic passing of the three-time world champion and Roland Ratzenberger. And great to see they were out yesterday along with the Formula 3 drivers and Formula 1 drivers on the run that took place around the circuit. And loads of tributes are going to be happening, but I think that was a beautiful way to start, and they did stop at the statue of Ayrton Senna as well.
Yeah, both drivers who passed that weekend, Senna and Ratzenberger. Obviously a tragic weekend in the sport. and we are marking the 30-year anniversary of the return to Imola this weekend. Great fitting tributes from the drivers, and of course expressing their appreciation in the way that they can with the information that they have.
Yeah.
These young drivers, so many of whom will all of whom, thinking their age through, will know Senna from from footage, from written record, from everything else, but obviously not having seen races live, so it's great that lives on via those records. Living via his records as well, championship leader Zane Maloney sits then at the head of the championship, 10th place in F2 last year with Rodin Carlin, and he'll be looking to continue good form on through this weekend to try to maintain that championship lead, which he holds from Paul Aaron, who sits in second place, this man's teammate at High Tech.
Yeah, where do we stand in the championship then? Well, we've had 3 rounds so far. We've had Bahrain, we've had Jeddah, we've had Australia, we've had an in-season test at Barcelona in the break, and now we are here for round 4 of 14 rounds. We get to the European leg of the season, essentially. Rounds are going to come thick and fast. We go straight to Monaco after this. Zane Maloney has got a bit of a buffer at the top of the standings, 15 points to be exact, over Paul Aaron. Dennis Hauger then in 3rd place, 41 points for him. Isaac Hadjar 4th place, 34 points after he got 2 on-track wins, one of those validated though. Kushmani, then it was Fittipaldi, Marti, Crawford, Antonelli and Miata. Of course, he did get 2 on-track wins, but the first of those, he got a 10-second penalty for the incident that happened off the line. But the second one in the feature race, he did win on track, and that was an official result, and we caught up with him about that Melbourne win.
Bit of anger, frustration, but yeah, I was being realistic. I didn't think a win was achievable, but in the end, you know, feature race in F2, anything can happen, and we made it happen. So it felt like a relief, and yeah. But in my mind, I won 2 races, you know, so I'm okay with that.
It was a superb performance from him, wasn't it, across the whole weekend, Alex?
Yeah, it really was. It really was. Started the season strongly, 4th place in Bahrain, taking that win in Melbourne, and we'll be looking to try to continue that form into this weekend. It's been a reasonable break for these drivers to contend with. They have had that in-season test that they've been pounding around Barcelona for a couple of the days. We've been talking already today about how that can mix up and change the form, can make the rookies jump forward in terms of their performance in comparison to the drivers who are returning, drivers like Ferrari Academy driver Oliver Behrman, who we're looking at right now. And so often those rookie drivers can get those couple of days testing in and find form that they haven't had in the early 3 races of the year.
Yeah, Isaac Hadjar was quickest in that test as well, and all the times were put together. Ahead of his Campos Racing teammate, Pepe Marti, Franco Colapinto 3rd. Paul Aaron's been busy in the break, hasn't he? Racing Formula E at Berlin. Did a great job over there as well. It was great to see him racing out there for the Envision Racing team in place of Sebastian Buemi. Taylor Barnard also jumped in for the injured Sam Bird as well at Monaco and Berlin, which was really great to see, and scored points in both races.
And the green light is on, and we're finally underway for this practice session. Someone tell the timing screens that, because they haven't actually booted into gear yet, which is what I've just noticed. But then again, Omi, not really surprised, considering that before we came on, they had become the F1 Academy live timings.
They had indeed, but great to see cars out on the circuit for F1 2 as we get our practice session underway and going there, one and only, before we get into qualifying later on to some crucial running to come for the 22nd round of the GP2 F2 to be held in Italy. So, amazing series out here. Of course, it used to be known as Gym pre-2017.
A lot of lag from you and me over there. We got it all, but it took a while. I don't know if your encoder's overloading if you're using an OBS cam or something, just to let you know. As they come through. We can't tell. Timings are down, actually. The whole timing system's down. Marvellous. Is anything
Brilliant.
actually ever going to work?
Lovely.
Yeah, the whole timings are down.
It seemed like it's been a week of just stuff not working.
So, on board with Gabriel Bortoletto for the Invictus Racing team at the moment. In these new F2 cars, finally we get to see them out there. We're just waiting right now because the systems just aren't working. So, bear with us while we get this all working. But we haven't even got timings on the TV pictures. Remember, the first 10 minutes of this session is track acclimatization. They're all made after Australia. So don't expect to see anyone running until 35, but you can see they're all now going to box back into the pit lane anyway. So with 35 to go, that's when the session actually starts. Go on.
Yep. So they'll all just be coming in and then we'll start to see them going out once again. But Maloney, great start to the season, we have to say, for him, for the boy from Barbados. Doing the double, of course, in Bahrain. Then qualifying, he had a few issues in Saudi, recovered pretty well. Australia getting a podium, so he's done very, very well this season. Has Zane Maloney really taking a step forward. But it's Oliver Behrman, who of course had to miss one round due to Formula 1 around Jeddah. It's Behrman and Martins who came as the predicted title favourites for this season, and they're still yet to properly kickstart their F2 campaign this year.
Timings have just about restarted. There we go. They've kicked into gear now. Yes, we have timings, everybody. Thank goodness for that. So,
Lovely.
no one's actually in. So track temperature's at 34.7 degrees, air temperature 21.5, 4.4 wind speed, humidity at 44%. Track obviously is dry, so yeah, some good runs out there. Just realised I've got two timing screens showing me exactly the same information. That might not be the best idea on the planet. As several drivers go out and come back in again. Change over to brand new tyres. Of course, as I said, the first 15 minutes of this session is used as track acclimatization. Good idea, actually, I think, to change the rules. Because there was a lot of mess in Australia, like a ton of it.
Yeah.
Behrman, Antonelli.
Of a mess as well.
Sorry, there's a ton of lag. That's affecting me and Omi up in the comms box right now.
Yeah.
Go on, Omi, I'll hand over to you.
Refresh the TV.
Yeah, want it. Right, give us a second, everyone.
Yeah.
Time to the world
We
feed.
currently
Now signed a deal to race with McLaren in IndyCar, and a best of luck to him for the rest of the season. Former alumni driver Callum Ilott will be stepping in for the Indy 500, but they need good seasons. We're going to talk a little bit about that after we hear from Dennis Hauger. Let's hear a little bit more from him about the Imola circuit.
I really enjoy it, to be honest. It's a bit more old school, let's say, which I really think is cool. Technical, a bit more tight, and they got a few really cool sections through Sector 2 and quite a few chicanes. So I really enjoy the track. I got my first podium in F2, I think, here, and quite a few wins from F4. Obviously, we didn't do the race last year, but I'm looking forward to get on track here.
Right, can you hear me now?
Hello. Yes,
Yay.
I can.
Lag's gone.
Brilliant. Lovely. It seems like rejoining is helping today.
Yes.
And stuff.
Discord being a nightmare. So technology is never so good. Do you remember that time here in Imola a couple of years ago where we had no live timings until about Saturday because they had a system failure?
Oh, did he? Yeah.
That was fun. Commentating on the first practice session from helicopter cameras and onboards with no timing screens whatsoever was a challenge. Fun weekend.
Yep, absolutely. Zach O'Sullivan making his way through, of course. Soon in a couple of minutes, we'll start getting some proper runs in, and the session will basically properly be way as well. Colapinto, another Williams Jr. making his way through then the Ravazza and about to go down towards Talbot. So they're all just right now making their way through on the circuit. And Colapinto, of course, who competed last year with MP Motorsport, finishing fourth the year before in Van Amersfoort in 9th. And of course, in the Formula Regional Championship with MP Motorsport in 6th. And then with in the Formula Renault Euro, he managed to get 3rd with MP Motorsport. So a lot of NP Motorsport for him, of course, for Colapinto. And Colapinto, of course, really enjoying this year. He's had up and downs, but he is definitely enjoying this year, is Colapinto. A previous winner around this circuit, we have to mention as well, in Formula 3, when we last came in 2022.
A brilliant race as well, that was in 2022 for Formula 3.
Yep.
On the outside at Tamburello. It was brilliant, and darting up the inside, cars flying off the track. That's why we're so excited to be back here for Formula 2 and Formula 3. And of course, to kickstart the Porsche season. This is where Porsche should have started last year, actually. The calendar identical to what it was back in 2023. So Sullivan now just taking the inside curbs ever so gently. Go on.
Well, here's the question: would we have covered Porsche if it started here?
Oh, yes. I think we would have.
We would have.
Yeah.
Still.
It would have nagged me as much as it nagged me in Monaco. To have done it.
Okay, great. Because we of course found out on the Monaco week that we'd be doing it. I think Imola got cancelled a bit too soon for us to decide on that week.
It did, yeah. It was still bugging me around Imola though, that maybe I should do it, should I not? And then when we got to Monaco, I thought, let's do it. What was it? This Friday we decided that we were doing it. So yeah, it was quite late.
The Thursday.
Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So Behrman second sector.
Yeah, still
is
pretty
quick.
late there.
Yeah, lags back. So Behrman across the line. Let's take a look at Sullivan first of all, and he goes 132.113. Behrman just behind him, 131, 131, 334. I mean, that's a brilliant lap time from Behrman.
Brilliant lap time indeed. Track continues to rubber in. Dirksen now goes to second as we start getting some runs in. Marty taking it all off the circuit, making his way through now. Over the line is Pepe Marti, and of course the winner as Vishal goes third. Hadja the winner from the feature down under, now also trying to continue his form here into Imola. Dennis Hauger has moved up to third. Let's see what Isaac Hadja can do as he comes across the line, as Barna now moves up to second. Australia also looking good in the second sector.
Hadja goes fastest, 130.812. Bortoletta goes second. Stanak fastest for Trident, 137.84. Maloney goes fourth. Maney still down 21st position in that second sector as we pick up with... who are we picking up with now? That's Paul Aron. And now picking up as well with Juan Manuel Correa. Finally there's Maney. God, it took a while to get there. Colapinto's 7th. Correa 14th. Maney goes third then, 138.52. Fastest third sector of anybody with 34 and 40 to go. So now we're getting into our lap times for this session. Let's have a look at Andrea Kimi Antonelli. This is down to Acqua Minerale. I bet he's going to slide it, Omi.
Yeah, wide, and a trip through for the driver and his course and his teams as well, but a bit of a snap for Antonelli off the road through the gravel, but continuing on for luckily, as we also now cut to him as he now tries to get a lap time on the board, and this is of course the first sector that Antonelli's actually driven at before. So let's see how he's going to be able to perform.
Never raced here before. Never had the chance to, really, has he? Which is surprising given the other formulas. But didn't he race here in Freca? I seem to remember this is when George Morgan.
Yeah, he did
told
race
us.
here in Freca, but he didn't.
Go on.
Yeah, he did race here in Freca, but he didn't. He hasn't raced in the first 3 rounds he hasn't raced around the first 3 rounds of the season in before. So this is the first second that he comes to that he has raced that.
Yeah, George Morgan, of course. This is where I first learnt about Kimi Antonelli being linked with Mercedes, because George Morgan, who's lead commentator on PSGL, PCF1, F1 Esports Series, also on the GT Challenge World Championships, and also commentates on Freca. He was at the Euro Formula as well when Kimi Antonelli was racing in it, and he told us in one of the PSGL hangout evenings that Andrea Kimi Antonelli had just signed with Toto Wolff, and as soon as Hamilton would be out of the car, Antonelli would be in the car. So that's why we've all been saying, yes, Antonelli, is he ready for an F1 seat this soon? Because that's why we've said for years, since George told us he'll be straight to F2, then to F1 for 2026. But Hamilton's left a year early, which means is Antonelli prepared for it all, which is why we're looking for a substitute driver in the year. So it all revolves around Antonelli as he goes third fastest on a 130.664. What do you think, Omi? Who do you reckon is going to have the top shot at the Mercedes seat?
Third. To the season. He's had a few ups and downs, but you do have to remember he's never driven around the circuit in the past. He's had a 45-minute practice into it. Bahrain, of course, has had Bahrain, of course, he had testing there, but the Prema just wasn't good around Bahrain, so that's not even a fair representation. He's raced here before. We now come here to Imola. Now we're getting to the big lockup by Zach O'Sullivan down to the Tamburello chicane, and a little cut off the chicane there as well. But for Antonelli, he is now getting to circuits that he's used to. So now we're going to be starting. So now we're going to start to see how good he really is. And do remember, in Australia, he put it on pole for a little bit. So he definitely does have quite a bit of talent, and has already showed glimpses of it. But now let's see if he's going to be able to get the results to show for it as well.
Absolutely. As we take a quick look and now see Franco Colapinto running in 4th place, 1:29.908 on his lap time. As we see Villa Gomez down in 22nd at the moment, but Hadjar still fastest, 1:29.805. 40 thousandths off is Maney, with Hauger in 3rd. Top 3 separated by 66 thousandths of a second, which is very tight. Top 15 separated by less than a second. Down to Antonelli. Down to where Antonelli is.
Yep. And they're all going to get faster and faster and faster. But Kush Maney definitely has had a good start to this season. Still chasing, though, that maiden victory in FIA Formula 2. An expert driver on the brakes, kind of like the Danny Ricciardo when it comes to it. So let's see if we're going to get more of that in the upcoming rounds as well. And we can now hear from Kush Maney.
Down season, we got disqualified in Jeddah. in Bahrain from a pole, so that took away our chances really to fight for the win. Jeddah, we were fighting for the win. Melbourne, we were fighting for the win. So it's there, but F2, anything can happen. So it's just about points and collecting those points. And I think we're in a strong position coming into the European leg, and that's my main focus, just points and podiums.
He's been very consistent, hasn't he? Just as he mentioned there, he's been slightly unfortunate at times, I think is how we describe Kush Maney's season in both qualifying and in race trim. He's only been out the points twice, and then he had that disqualification in qualifying, otherwise a worst result of 4th so in qualifying. So he's showed great consistency in that Invicta Racing Car.
Yeah, pole in Saudi, took 2nd in the feature race in that instance. and has been, as you say, he's been strong when he has been up front. More difficult weekend back in Australia. Checking in with Dennis Hauger, 8th in the championship last year, sits 3rd in the championship this year, and still trying to convert that Formula 3 championship, isn't he? Jumped up into a Formula 2 car, didn't immediately take off in the way that we saw drivers like Oscar Piastri do. Very much of that generation of Formula 3 talent, and now trying to make his way through Formula 2.
As Bernard goes into 4th position. There's some cars, by the way, just thought I'd let you know, that are going out here that have been made in Italy. One of them is the 2004 Minardi, carrying a wonderful tribute to Justin Wilson on the front of the nose cone. I've just been sent an image of, if you wonder why we left it on the world feed for too long. Here's Maney in 6th position, now 7th, as Stanak goes up into the order, and Maloney goes up, and Hadjar goes up as well. So Maloney goes 2nd with a 1:29.627, so a little bit of a difference there, as Paul Aron 6th fastest. Colapinto goes up into 3rd. Oh, JT, what have you noticed, Amy? JT just texted me, actually. Come on.
Manius. Yeah, Maney seems like has had a little excursion off the road there as well, but it's Hauger at the front of the field. Hauger, a driver who is really enjoying this new car as well. He says it feels more natural. He's highly motivated, so Hauger definitely chasing a championship challenge this year. The F3 champion, of course, from 2021. It hasn't clicked for him in the last 2 years. This year, he's trying to make it click. And let's see if he's going to be able to do it in his 3rd year, as Marty made his way off the road, right on the exit of the Tamburello chicane as well, and making his way down towards Wilsave. And this was the lockup I was on about.
Yeah. A moth has woken up and decided violence. I basically live in a bug factory. That's it, go around the curtain. Nope.
Listen to JB.
It won't. It's being evil. Is it going to move? No, it's not moving. It's staying where it is. Which makes me nervous ooh. Oh, hang on. It's gone around the curtain. Yay! Not my problem anymore. Brilliant. Excellent. So, Hauger comes into the pit lane. 1:29.539 is his fastest time. Did that on his last run as well before boxing.
Indeed. So currently, Hauger, Maloney, Colapinto, Hadjar, Bortoletti, the top 5 margins are super close right now between all of the drivers we've got. Ritomo Miata currently, who is in the pit lane, and he's a driver who is really now starting to get used to the car, so we'll be expecting some performances coming in, hopefully, from him as well. The Super GT champion from last year, the Super Formula champion from last year as well. So a very, very talented driver, Miata, so it'll be interesting to see when are we going to start seeing some podiums and wins. He's been getting closer and closer as he gets used to the change to the F2 car coming into this series and racing around these types of race tracks as well. Aaron also has definitely been very, very good as we ride on board with Antonelli as he makes his way through. Let's see where he's going to be able. He's coming into the pit lane, is Kimi Antonelli. But you can never get too comfortable in F2. Aaron, though, has driven brilliantly so far this season, second by the Mercedes Junior Academy, but he's driven absolutely brilliantly. But it's very easy to get too comfortable in F2, so he's going to have to continue performing all the way throughout the season if he wants to put a little bit of a challenge for the title.
I just thought, I wonder who's commentating on the first session for F1. Is it going to be Harry Benjamin, or is it going to be like Natalie Pinkham or Rachel Brooks? Surely they wouldn't take a session away from Harry if he's only got 5. I don't know. I think I heard FP1 being mentioned. Karun Chanhok is alongside him in the commentary box this weekend. No Martin Brundle, which means it's the first complete change on the Sky F1 commentary team ever. That is... I was surprised, actually, Omi. I thought they might have Martin Brundle there. Bless you. Oh, Martin's off! Piratella putting a little wheel on the gravel there.
Yep, and he's a driver who will be hoping that qualifying does go his way this time around. Qualifying at Melbourne, it was a car going round and a difficult weekend once again. So Martin's just trying to get a weekend in, and let's see how he gets on this weekend, if he is able to return back to form that he would expect from himself, and everyone does expect. But Isaac Hadjar is in the first sector, he's backed out of it. So, but Isaac Hadjar, well, kind of did a double, but also got a penalty that gave Roman Stanek the sprint race. So Hadjar's another driver who's looking very, very good. So let's see if Hadjar can continue it on. Here is Victor Martins making his way down to Piratella, taking a wide line, and there is gravel out there, and dipping his tyres into that gravel trap for Victor Martins.
So just keeps on going. Martins, I believe, is still circulating. Hasn't come into the pit lane as far as I know. No, he's 21st, 130.932. Behrman in. Has Behrman actually scored points? One, I believe, on the board in F2 this season. Or did he get that taken away?
He possibly may have scored a point this year. Now I'm just trying to think from memory.
Yeah, because Australia was a long time
ago. Yeah, it was quite a long time ago. Watching Zach O'Sullivan make his way down towards the Tamburello chicane. Turn 2 off the circuit. Turn 1's that little kink towards it.
All I know for sure is that he's got more points in Formula 1 than he does in Formula 2, which isn't a bad thing to have at all. And Behrman's practically already got the seat for Haas next year, so that's fine.
Yeah, he already does have that, luckily.
Marty, new personal best a few moments ago. 1:29.7253. Cars coming into the pit lane then with 21 minutes to go in this practice session. Just going to change over. We're looking at Zach O'Sullivan now, who's drifting into Aqua Minerale after Piratella. Right down the exit there. Formula 1, you can carry so much more speed in compared to an F2 car. You really have to slam it down. That's how he looks at Variante Alta. Over bump 1, bump 2, right down, back on the throttle. Yeah, nice. Doing the lap attack yesterday was a nightmare. Go on.
Yep, nicely done by O'Sullivan. Bortoletto back to the top as well, who's been happy with his pace this season. But despite lacking results, is this weekend where that changes and he can get back up there. Once again, Zach O'Sullivan about to come over the line, the first ART, and he goes to 18th. His teammate about to also come over. First of all, the second sector, he's making his way down towards Aqua Minerale, the tough Aqua Minerale corner with the corner change, and then all the way up the hill and down towards the Variante Alta chicane for Victor Martins, 8/10ths down, as he now will make his way over the curbs and make his way down towards Ravazza to complete the lap for the Frenchman.
A lot of sparks were flying there as well, actually, for Martins as he turns into Ravazza 1. Exit curve nicely, puts it hard through Ravazza 2, and now heads straight down towards the finish line. And turn 14 is involving cars 24 and 16, noted for impeding. So that's Durskin and Antonelli. No, Cordial, sorry, who have been noted. Interesting. So there's Zane Maloney in the garage in P5. Half the drivers still out there on the circuit right now. I must admit, it's quite weird, this
Indeed.
Imola one. Go on.
Yeah, it is. Indeed. In Malone, just going to try and continue his form is Zane. But he, afterwards, I looked in Bahrain, there's more drivers emerging, as we've already mentioned. We've talked about Aaron, we've talked about also Hauger. Aaron is also definitely performing as well. Hadjar is starting to emerge as a bit of a threat is another Frenchman in this field. Isaac Hadja, of course, got lucky with the timing last time out of the yellow before it went to virtual safety car. He was able to get in just before Buddy's time during the virtual. So he did Isaac Hadja.
So much of the time through the early phases of qualifying.
Wrong buttons. Right, Indy weather. Isn't looking too bad on. Indy weather isn't looking too bad on weather. Low chance of showers, I believe. Says Zoran X as well. Yeah, but there's a chance that we could have still some rain coming in. Look, I know it's really cruel, but I would actually really like it to rain because I might have the chance to do something later that I would like to actually go and do. So I don't know. I need to be relieved in the commentary box. So wasn't supposed to be doing it all anyway. So we'll see who's around to take over. I know JT is always going to be in the box, but if it's rain delay, it's easy. I can just hand it over to him and he can take over with IndyCar radio playing in the background. So we're kind of hoping for some rain delays. So yeah, I know it sounds awful, but I'm hoping for a rain delay.
Indeed.
But I wouldn't mind doing the whole thing as well. It's one of those days where you just...
Yeah, absolutely.
Go on.
Yep, indeed, as Maney makes his way through as well. But next week is going to be where all the chaos takes place. All of the chaos taking place next week. My God, is that going to be a chaotic weekend as Maney makes his way through. But just like F3, qualifying crucial for the next 2 rounds, especially with how hard it can be to overtake. And in F3, there are chances around this circuit, but I'll be honest with you, when we came here in F2 in 2022, it was super hard to overtake for all of them, and was one of the more boring races of the season. With the opening laps, though, they were thrilling for F2. We had Nissani taking the lead from 6th on the grid by the time we got to Tamburello. So we've had some incredible moments around this circuit, but we've had dramatic moments. We've had less on the side of overtaking. I remember last year, so it is okay, which is why also maybe Alex Jacobson decided to miss this one to let Chris have one, with it not being the most exciting one anyway.
New cars could make for something interesting, but only one DRS zone at this track, which is down towards the start straight towards Tamburello, so it doesn't give it too much access. But we're looking at we're looking at Zane Maloney now on the action. Ooh, Vishal.
Yep, Maloney. Next weekend, if you didn't join. Yep, Vishal going up second. He's another driver. He's just trying to maximize his experience in Formula 2 in his 4th year. He's struggled a bit in his career so far. We're not able to get stability and then not able to get used to it and get experience. So now he's got a chance. He's had 4 seasons, so he's now starting to perform a little used to it. And he's been able to be in the series, get used to the car. So he's just trying to improve as a driver as Richard Rashaw, and then takes a few victories. Usually gets disqualified from a, so it's not the best for Richard Rashaw. But I hope we're going to get to see him stand on the top step a few more times this season. If you weren't with us now in Formula 3 earlier on, huge chance of rain from the Formula 1 side on the Monaco week. That could lead us with an interesting F2 Super Cup along with also one of course. So it might be a bit more chaotic, and it might not be the most straightforward for whoever lines up on pole in the races.
Yeah, keep an eye out on what's going to happen as we take a look at Antonelli. It could still be a wet weekend on Sunday as well, actually, here for the F3, F2 and F1 and Porsche races, the features, as Antonelli jumps up to 2nd place on a 1:29.392. There is a 40% chance of rain on Sunday for Formula 1, so we'll keep you updated throughout the weekend. It's dry for Friday and Saturday, which is the best news. As with 15 minutes to go, is it me or has the F2 session taken way longer than the session for F3. I know we had that delay, but it does seem a bit longer, doesn't it?
It does kind of feel a little bit long as well. Antonelli in second, Colapinto absolutely mounting over
Lost
the
time.
curb of Varianti Alta, then having a bit of a twitch on the exit. So Colapinto looking to push on, looking to extract everything out of his car. Is the MP Motorsport driver, part of the Williams Academy, one of two Williams Academy drivers, and another twitch coming through Ravazza. He's really fighting away with the car on this lap.
Cross the line and stays in 10th. No! Yes, stays 10th.
Yeah.
He lost so much time.
It
in that
was
second
Maney who
third.
improved slightly.
Stanek,
Stanek
nice.
to P9. Yeah, Roman Stanek also is going to try and now. Roman Stanek is, of course, up around the circuit in the past. F3 2022, the feature race he took, did Roman Stanek, so he'll think that he can try achieve something in Formula 2. Now, of course, is a winner, as he did win it on penalties when Hadjar for the Australia opening lap incident that we did have. Let's see what Maney's going to be able to do, but
Oh,
this is
Behrman!
looking very, very good. And now it's Behrman.
Lap
Behrman's
time,
lap time's
yeah.
been deleted, so he's the car absolutely rocketing down the order.
Here's Maita coming out the last corner. So is he going to improve? 22nd at the moment, last overall. Takes the line and 20th, 130.089. Maloney fastest first sector of anybody out there with a 28.155. We pick him up now, coming... No, this is Hadjar coming out of Ravazza 2 up to the line. Hadjar 4th, goes 2nd, as Richard Verschoor has his lap time deleted by the stewards as well. Antonelli is 34 thousandths of a second off the pace of Bortoletto's time, who has changed again. And Maloney's up by 17 thousandths. We pick him up coming in through Varianti Alta.
Zane Maloney, the boy from Barbados, looking now to attack in the last sector. A bit down, as you see, Fittipaldi's lap time deleted. Super move in Jeddah in the feature race to get past two cars. Lock up by Maloney into Ravazza, and then the winner, of course, of the Saudi feature race, Enzo Fittipaldi, his greatest driver in F2. Maloney, though, best weekend in Bahrain. He did the double. What a weekend that was for him. He'll be hoping for something similar. He goes to third. Antonelli still pushing on. So is Oliver Behrman as Primo in their home race. Now we get to the European part of the season. They've had a scruffy first 3 rounds. Now they're trying to bring it all together and be the team that we know they absolutely are, as we watch with Antonelli making his way up towards the line. Hauger down in the first sector. Antonelli crosses the line, goes to second.
129.151 puts in P2, but Bortoletto is still 2 tenths ahead of the rest of the field as we see Behrman jumping over the curbs at Varianti Alta, down towards Ravazza now as well. Should be able to find a bit more pace and time, and he's up in that first sector, but down sector 2. Hauger's the opposite.
Yep, absolutely. Hauger down in both sectors. Aaron also improving in the first sector as Oliver is about to make his way over the line. We've already seen one frame over the line. He's been able to go to second. Let's see what Behrman can do. He goes to 5th. So Behrman goes to 5th. Hauger most likely won't be able to improve on his time unless he gets a mega last sector, which he does. So he goes up now to 5th. But Aaron is absolutely flying in the middle part of the lap. He's 2 tenths up of the man currently sitting in P1, Gabriele Bortoletto.
30.942 for Paul Aron. He's got the delta time spot on as he hurtles into Ravazza. Maney goes 7th, 129.487. Crawford goes into 11th, 129.594. Colapinto goes 8th, 129.509. But Paul Aron is about to blow them all away at the timing tower for the high-tech. 128.852, 71 thousandths of a second faster than Bortoletto. And now the man who hasn't got to drive with Mercedes anymore was let go of the program from Antonelli. Got a run last time in Formula E at the weekend in Berlin. Aron's top of this session as well. Barnard, who got a run in McLaren, runs in 10th.
Yeah, Taylor Barnard has been very good at putting it inside the top 10 in the formerly known as PH. We're going to fully call it the AIX racing. This was Colapinto making his way through them. And the car directly in front of him. Big slide for Colapinto making his way down towards Toza. But Barnard's been really good at putting in the top 10, and if you do it at a circuit like, let's say, next week at Monaco, that could be a race win in an AIX car. So Taylor Barnard performing absolutely brilliantly. Remember, next week we are going to have the two-part qualifying for FIA F3 and FIA Formula 2. So do remember that we're going to have a two-part qualifying for those two taking place on the Friday, so slightly different than every single round that we have in the series. Maloney now, as Hadjar goes third. Maloney, fastest of all in the first sector, we're about to see in the second sector, and he's down by over 1/10 of a second. So if he wants to go to the top, he's going to have to do it all in the final sector of the lap.
Yep, and the two-part qualifying, that's why it's a standalone on a Friday as well in between the sessions, because if you're in practice at the same time, we'll never get the day done with the amount of red flags that they expect. And yeah, it's a two-part session. Yellow flag is at sector 1, and is this going to be a
Talking
red?
about red flags.
Yeah. What's happened? Colapinto's coming to the pit lane.
Maloney, third.
Oh!
Let's see.
Is
Oh.
that Beerman in the barrier with 2 broken wings? It is. And that is out. Oh, it's going to have to be a red flag. It is a red flag.
Yeah.
So that is coming out of Villeneuve chicane up towards Toza. And the red flag is out.
Well, that's not what he wanted. We were saying that now they're into the European part. Now it should all be normal for Preyman. They're gonna try and get it together, but no, that's not how you want to start your first session in the European part of the season. Oliver Behrman finds the barrier. That is disappointing for him, and we'll see what he's able to do later on in qualifying. He's not going to lose out too much because everyone's going to be interrupted with this red flag. Yeah. But still a disappointment and still a bit of work for the team to do. Won't be too much though, but it seems like he's just gone into the barrier and lost his front wing. Yeah, you can see the gravel trap marks, can't you? So he's gone in sort of sideways, bounced over the curbs, knocks off the front wing, and then bounced back into the exit curb. Everyone applauding that Behrman is out of the car okay, of course. The Ferrari driver, they love him here after scoring points in Saudi in Formula 1. But Behrman has had a really bad F2 season and put a really good F1 one. And they were all cheering him in Australia when he also spun in the feature. Now this was it, down to Tamburello, and on the exit he's going to get loose and he's going to go into the gravel and straight into the barrier, and then the car will roll on for a little bit and then come to a halt. So disappointment for Oliver Behrman. Yeah, so it's not Villeneuve, it's the first one. It is Tamburello. Yeah. Can never get a wide angle of where they are because they do look identical from the exit. So just turns in, rear snaps on him. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a toe link breaking somewhere, the way that snaps. It's the bounce from the tyre wall. That's what I don't like. Let's take a look at the rear left. Yeah, look, the toe link's broken. That's not his... Alex is saying driver error. I don't think that was. The rear... Look at the rear tyre. It's already broken. The rear had already locked. The rear left had already locked. And the toe link's broken. So that's a rear suspension failure for Behrman. That's not driver error. That is a rear suspension failure. The way that went round, you could tell. Because it snapped on him twice. The first time when it breaks and the second time when he turned in. If it was driver error, it would have just snapped once. Surprised Alex Brundle didn't spot that, to be fair. Did he not? No, he said it was driver error. It's not. The toe link broke at the rear. That's why the suspension looks back at the rear left. Turns in, it breaks, and then as soon as he turns back to the right and puts the power down, that tyre comes off the wheel, you lose traction, round you go, into the barrier. So 5 minutes to go, we might get a restart quite quickly. Let's hand over to Chris McCarthy and Alex Brundle.
And there, Behrman with a bit of a moment, it's bumpy in the mid-corner of the second part of Tamburello. You just catch a bump and a little oversteer you thought you had hold of, all of a sudden becomes a big one, and then you end up in the outside wall. Incident involving, is it Colapinto?
That's Correa.
Has been noted for track limits. So drivers are losing multiple laps of track limits out there, but also to the point where they're going to potentially be picking up penalties. So keep you across that one.
Yeah, well, keep an eye on that. Well, we've seen a Prema Racing driver there, Ollie Behrman, unfortunately having some problems. Rene Rosin, the man at the top of Prema Racing. Let's hear from him now.
For sure, now we start the European season. Is the moment that we start that we need absolutely to score points, important points. But the championship is quite long. We have done 3 races out of 14, and I think there is a lot of chance to do a very good job. And we are just looking forward and trying to do the result race by race, not looking of anything, not looking the championship. And at the end of the championship, of course, we will try to get our conclusion. But I think if we are able to score points and result every time with the track, I think everything is still open.
Rene Rosin there talking about the championship points, and I'm sure talking about the team standings. Currently 8th in the team standings, 52 points back from JBMotorsports, who lead on 78 from Campos in 2nd, High Tech Pulsate in 3rd place. They just want to put as many points on the board as possible. It is early in the season, plenty of rounds still to go, and they were demonstrating some good pace there. Antonelli 5th, Behrman in P6, and they won a lot of titles for a reason. Rene Rosin really knows what he's doing. Him and his support team around him know what they're doing down there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for the teams, isn't it? Because when you look at it from Prema's perspective, they obviously lost Behrman, which is, as we see, the session will not be resumed somewhat predictably with 2 minutes 40 seconds left on the clock. But they lost Behrman for a round. Of course, not there to potentially score team points. And then, of course, they have other issues through the year. They didn't quite have the car together at the beginning of the season, but what is important, well, it's easy to forget, is all of these, you think it's not necessarily great for Behrman's points tally at the end of the year, but of course these teams are evaluated by potential drivers in the future based around their season-ending performance. So difficult for Prema, that moment, to lose a potentially high point-scoring driver for that event. And now they've got a car to repair here in Imola, but hopefully at least a little bit better pace to carry through the weekend.
Everyone talks about the silly season in Formula 1, don't they? But drivers will be already evaluating what they want to do for next season in the support categories, and those teams all want to be at the top of the team's standings, and they just want to get their drivers the best possible results they can, more than anything else.
So what you're seeing is not a resumption of the session.
No.
I believe. What you're seeing is the cars making their way back round to the support paddock, which sits to the right-hand side of the Villeneuve chicane. So they'll be making their way back round and off out of the circuit. The order that we have seen will be the final order for this session, and that will be the last running that we will see before they go out on the super soft tyre for qualifying.
And we did mention about Correa being under investigation, and that has been reviewed and no further investigation required for him on track limits there. So good to have that cleared up before the end of the session, as Kimi Antonelli makes his way round with the rest of the field. They're going to head back to the support paddock. As Alex said, that will be the end of practice. Next time we see them on track will be for qualifying.
interesting. Drivers will have to contend with red flags, as will the Formula 2 drivers. Cannot wait for it to get underway.
Sky just cut us off there. We were perfectly leading into the intro, but they just let it go. So we'll be back for Formula One's practice in an hour and 15 minutes time, and straight after that it'll be qualifying for F3 and F2, and then we'll lead in for the practice day of the Indy 500. But thanks to Omi, thanks to you at home. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.